This is Colin Digits. I'm here with the Planet Mojo team for another round of very interesting questions. Thank you guys for being here once more. Last time we had a blast. If you haven't seen that video, make sure to check that out to learn everything about the Planet Mojo game. Today we got Michael, Kendria, Ralph. Welcome. Can
Thanks for having
you
us
do the screen share
again.
right now, Michael? Is it available for you?
No.
Should be in
Let me
chat.
fix
I
that.
think.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
now
think
we can
it
say
should.
thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
Now we're
Okay,
good.
perfect.
We're good. Okay. One sec. I can get that going in a sec.
Sure. So overall, obviously, last time we spoke about the NFTs, which were interesting. Now things have changed quite drastically in terms of how we look at the entire market. But of course, you have a plan. So maybe some updates and then the plan.
We have a plan and a planet. We can talk about that right off the bat. And I guess last time we didn't. The NFT sale was still in the early days, and that's now in full swing. But yeah, previously we were set to do our Polkastarter Sale, that which was our first sale with them in a partnership last week, and that coincided literally on the day the markets went into free fall, and all our partners, advisors, everyone was just like, just hold off for now. So we expect to announce those shortly, some new dates. We're not going to push things back forever or wait here. We feel like we need to forge ahead, and hopefully things will, we have a very loyal community. We're still confident in it and we're excited. And if anything, this just lets more people find out about it, which is great. We've been continuing to do outreach. Our Twitter followings are growing. All our socials really like gangbusters in our list. So yeah, we're just forging ahead now.
In terms of the actual mint, how did you pick from? I assume you had lots of choices to go with. Why you specifically choose for Polkastarter?
Sure. Well, honestly, those guys really like them. Been friends with them since very early on. They reached out to us and really wanted to work with us. And even when I was still young and navigating the space and figuring out who's who, but their community, in terms of launch pads is really second to none in terms of loyalty and size. And it just brings us exposure to a new community of people. And it gives our community another shot at getting on the whitelist and another minting point,
Right.
basically. So it was a win-win all around, and really just a way to expand our reach, essentially.
So them doing the NFT sale, because I didn't even know that Polkastarter also did the NFT races, but
we are their first NFT sale officially. Sorry.
There you go. Right. Does it also mean that they will also do the public round for your token?
I mean, nothing is written in stone, but that is obviously something that is definitely being seriously considered and makes sense. And yeah, that is still months away for us, and we're still like focused obviously on this right now, the order we did things. But yeah, they're a great partner and makes a lot of sense.
Fair enough. When we look at these NFT races, right, I agree. One of the worst things that can happen, more so for the momentum and everything, is if a project doesn't mint out, right? It's just a bad sentiment. Like people just don't like it. Bored Yacht Club didn't mint out when they minted last year, right? But it's right now just.
You took the words out of my mouth. And, I think I totally get that. Obviously, we want to sell out. We're confident we will. But I think you're going to see that changing a little bit in this space, because at least for GameFi, right, you have hundreds of projects now that have raised funds, and we've already seen a few very high profile projects that didn't completely sell out. They're not going away. They're forging ahead. If we're in this for the long haul, we're still gonna accept our community who purchases and move, and reward them heavily, as we'll talk about, and move forward. So I think as more and more gaming projects enter this space, it's just going to get more crowded, and that will probably, become the norm. We'll see.
Because the race isn't even that crazy, right? If I remember correctly, because I looked at it this morning, it's 2,000 NFTs. Is that
For
right?
Polkastarter. Yep.
Yeah. So
Polkastarter. And then
yeah,
yeah.
it's like for a single pool, we've seen pools like, 20, 25,000. And of course, relative to obviously what they cost is also important. But in general, just to get the amount of hype going, um, on your first collection, right? The first collection being the most benefits, of course, for the game, for the players and everything. But also people are like, "Ooh, Planet Mojo, it looks cool, but it's new, right? Let's explore." And a lot of people, they like to wait, right? Specifically what's going on. Did you think about like what these NFTs in terms of benefits? Could you perhaps sum up the benefits for us on the
Yeah.
utility
And I
side?
actually have it totally. And we have a slide that shows it. So this was going to talk a little bit about the backstory, but we've covered most of this.
Yeah,
These are our partners for people who hadn't seen, or some of them other guilds and such. We're getting to the rewards. So this is the different rarities and the breakdown. You get a seed, which you sprout into a mojo randomly. So you find out which one you get. I'll just
oh,
skip
that's
through.
cool. I like that.
There's a movie of the seed, which everyone will get. Yeah, it's kind of like a Clone X thing or other projects have done. Showing the different rarities. We can come back to these, but yeah. Oh, so here's an overview of the rewards, which we think we're getting incredible value. We didn't want to like first of all, because it's a team-based game, auto chess, you need a base team of characters. So you need a mojo and these 4 champions. We're creating 6 initially, but by the full release later in the fall, we'll have, let's say, 20. So for anyone who gets one of these original mojos, sprouts the seed and holds it, we're going to airdrop them 4 out of the 6 champions, no extra cost. So you're essentially getting 5 NFTs for the price of 1. The
That's a
cost
good deal.
is going to, yeah, the cost is going to be $1,000 equivalent. We're going to accept wrap teeth, Matic, and other forms of payment. You'll also automatically be allow listed for our land sale. A percentage of people will be allow listed spots for our token sale with our partners, which we're working with. Early access to the games is another big reward, because you'll also have access to our first tournament, which we will have pooled prize cash rewards in with our token, and other things we're still working out and will announce soon. But you will, only a small pool of people will have access to that initially, and more rewards as well. So definitely want to hook up our early supporters.
Well, it does look like it. Yeah, it's definitely quite a long, well, solid. I mean, the longer the list, the better, of course, right? Specifically, if it's so early, usually they just say like, oh, you have this NFT for this game, like a Genesis NFT, and it gives some nameless perks, right? Like, oh, we might release some merch one day, and then you can buy a t-shirt. You don't even get it, you can buy it, right? Like you can wear our brand, but you still need to pay for it.
Right. Well, we really wanted to show, a high value proposition to our community and to our most, like Mike was saying, our most loyal fans at this point. And it's a differentiator too in the market, right? As you said, like someone will give some limited kind of like nondescript perks, or a perk to be able to buy a perk. But we really want to step forward with our best offering, just to show everyone how committed we are to the space and the like longevity of it. So yeah, I thought it was pretty amazing too.
And then they're gaming NFTs. You can see the quality. We feel it's very high end. We know it is, and these show the attributes. So we're leaning into what make PFPs. But as we launch the game, then more stats will come into the metadata, and you'll be able to update these over time with new animations, skins, etc. So we're really look at them as sort of the next generation of gaming NFTs that can evolve.
On the animation, is it like, does it mean like they're like 3D in that case?
Oh yeah, the animations are going to be rendered initially. We explored using 3D, but it's clunkier, and how many people really want to sort of get in there and
Yeah, I
spin them
don't
around.
like. Does it mean that they move? I don't know what it
Oh,
means.
yeah,
if
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
language.
And let me, I think we skipped over that. Oh, no, wait. Let me find that animation. Oh, here we go. Okay. So yeah, basically everything except the common one comes with an animation initially. So 30% of them will actually have full animations. The others have unique poses as well in 3D.
All right, cool.
And then as you
Yeah.
play the game, even the common ones, you'll be able to win animations, victory animations, and apply them to your NFTs as well. That's our plan. I
like that. That's the whole World of Warcraft Fortnite kind of thing, right? Like dance when you win a battle with your
Yes,
unique pose.
exactly.
Like
Exactly. That's what we want to definitely have that going on.
I think the animations will run a little bit smoother than what I'm seeing here in Zoom.
Yeah, it's probably slowing.
Yeah,
Zoom
Yeah,
is
a
slowing
little
it down.
chuggy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, they're very, very smooth. You can check out our Twitter too to see these playing at speed. These are concept shots of our land, which is going to have a night and a day cycle. This is also going to be fully 3D. We haven't seen anything done like in this space. Everyone will be randomly generated 3D. You'll be able to see, you know, this plant is only 10% of the lands have it, for example. So, and we'll evolve the features of this over time. Mojo homes and all these unique alien plants. Here's actually some 3D ones. This is new. This is actually, I think the first time we, okay, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is the first time we've shown this publicly. So you're getting an alpha.
The alpha, right?
This is one of the clan symbols. So as the champions all come from these different clans, they're going to have these amazing symbols and banners, which might become 3D airdrops as well to people someday. But the champions come in all these amazing anthropomorphic animal forms. They all have different classes. And I think since the last call also, we now have some 3D actually versions of these we can show off here as well. These are all the concept art. They show how they level up as you play the game. And yeah, I think here's a 3D version of our turtle cleric. Wow. And here's actually the rhino warrior and this other frog kind of necromancer we have. And these guys all have, we're going to be releasing more info on the clans, the names, the backstory as well soon, and the gameplay.
Awesome.
The rhino
what is the purpose of the land specifically? Because I understand it's like your home base, right?
Yeah, exactly. And over time, as we have a suite of interconnected games, that it'll really serve that function. Initially, though, it's there for collecting. It has a gameplay to it of itself. It's sort of like Animal Crossing Lite, which that's where I'll say we'll add more features over time. But you'll have daily missions and longer term ones where you'll collect resources, eventually craft them, and can create these Battlestone NFTs, which are an important part of our economy. They'll help you get into tournaments. They'll also help you increase your earnings from auto chess and ranked play. And we're also been experimenting with sort of a premium battle pass where you can buy in with things like NFTs and our tokens to increase your earnings depending on your rank.
Basically stack it that way, the different variables. Right.
Yeah, and have a ranked sort of progression that you can go through. It's similar to how, you know, other Web 2 games are doing battle passes, but adding in the earnings is a whole new concept to it.
When talking about battle passes, could we head over to the partners and guild overview one more time? There were definitely some interesting on those. So first, let's start with the guilds. Obviously, one of our biggest partners for the whole digits ecosystem is Unix. Not only Unix gaming, but everything related to Unix. But I also see Merit Circle there. Where do you see the guilds in terms of their utility, how they function, and inside the Planet Mojo games? Would you assume that they would just do the daily grind, or would you also like them to participate in the tournaments, perhaps?
Oh, yeah. I mean, first of all, I think it's probably longer discussion than we have time for, but I think just like the games over the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to see massive evolution in the guild space because as the games change, the guilds are evolving. And honestly, as we talk to the guilds, like they're ahead of this, the smart ones, and they're evolving like Unix, like Merit into new business models, right? So that's one thing. But yeah, in terms of like, just for us, it's sort of a 360 support thing, really, of awareness. And then in terms of the sort of traditional guild method of bringing players in, yeah, that's one of our, early hopes and why we've worked with them too, to get them NFTs and packs like we're giving the players. And tournaments, yes. I mean, that's something we've been talking about, which, surprised we don't see more in this space, which I think will just be fun to have tournaments within guilds, sort of like NCAA, bigger tournament with all the different guilds facing off, maybe like best of each. And, we just want to have fun with it and listen to what the community wants, which, is always number one.
Would you say if you have, so obviously Unix is introducing their final round launchpad.
Yes.
I know
We've
there's
been
not much to
talking to
say.
them too.
Yeah, okay. We're very much focused on these launchpads, so that would definitely be interested. Because you have like a nice deck here. How from last time, basically 1 week after our initial conversation, Animoca got on board. From an investment point of view, one of the bigger, more strategic marketing heavy VCs. Did it change anything for you in terms of your outlook or their advice along the way?
Oh, well, okay. Just to be clear, that they were our lead investor from the beginning. Maybe we retweeted it or something, or just tried to, because a lot of people didn't notice that maybe, from the beginning, because we were kind of under the radar. So yeah, they've been our lead investor from the beginning in our seed round. And yeah, they're an incredible partner of ours and always not only in making introductions, but giving us advice and more. So yeah, they're one of, our many companies and advisors we always go to for advice and more than that.
So apart, like obviously all the partners here, I assume all of their opinions are weighed, well, I don't want to say equally, but are considered equally, right? From each of these parties.
Oh
If
yeah,
that's
we
like
we welcome feedback from all our partners. And when we did our tokenomics, we worked closely with Republic, but we ran it by probably almost everyone on this list or who was on board at that point, just to get feedback and let them weigh in as well, which, even though sort of Republic ran point with us, they welcome that as well. So it was good to, get consensus, which
Right.
is, you're never going to get consensus in this space, but it's good to hear what people
Sorry about that.
for the most, yeah, no, it's fine. But for the most part, yeah, everyone really dug what we were doing and had come up with.
Did they, so obviously on the tokenomics, that's great. My actual follow-up question on that is, if you're as transparent with your partners, how does it influence, for example, the NFT mint, right? You said before that they advised you to perhaps postpone due to market conditions. This is what we literally see 100% of the time. So it's not a weird setup. Was there any party that advised you don't have to call them out, but it's just interesting to see the difference, that said like, I'll just do it anyway, and the reason behind it?
It's rare that you get 100% consensus. I think in this instance, it was pretty much because the market, it was just so dramatic. I think now that we're sort of leveling out and, saying, should we go ahead? Should we postpone? Or should we wait? That's where there's maybe you get some different opinions, because no one knows, where we're going to be in a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6
Crypto
months.
is
And
crazy.
if we wait, yeah, if we wait, things could, this is one thing I know is true. The longer we wait, the more games are coming out, the more crowded it gets. And we have great momentum now, so we don't want to lose that and inertia. And we want to reward our community. We want to get these amazing NFTs into their hands.
Would you consider bringing the supply down if that would be the advice from any party involved or Polkastarter or whatever, from let's say the initial 2000 to perhaps the 2 batches of 1000, something like that?
So what we're doing, again, just to be clear here, so we skimmed over it. We're actually bolder than that. We're crazy. Let me just get to the numbers here.
We're scaling it from 2000 to 10,000 in one go.
Yeah, no. So we're doing our own sale, which we've always done, which we've always announced, which is 4,444. And I won't give exact numbers, but we're very well oversubscribed already. And then at the sort of concurrently, and their sale happens sooner, and it's for their community. The sort of a staged approach is the Polkastarter Sale. So they have an allocation of 2,000. We have an allocation of 4,444. You know, would we consider? Yeah, we've considered selling less, but the lists have been growing so strong, even throughout this crash, that you know we still feel pretty good about it. Let's just put it that way.
Is the amount of Polkastarter subtracted from the 4.4K, or is it added to the 4.4K?
It's added. It's added because we said from the beginning there were 10K total. So we do have a surplus we are holding back on.
Okay. Is that for like marketing use, or is that for like a later event?
We may do a later mint. We've also had a lot of interest from some groups, and so and again we may. It depends on the interest. We may a lot more if we but that'll be the absolute cap, will be the 10K.
So even like in any, because it's obviously, I assume, the same smart contract. In any case, if you would not sell out the 4,444, it doesn't matter because you could just add the badge to the marketing badge.
Yeah,
from
and
a
hold on
business
to,
point of view.
yeah, or do a second mint later, closer to the game. We're going to be announcing the details soon, but there'll be, you know, a wave 1 of winners, and then they'll have a time to mint, and then there'll be a wave 2 where we open it up to everyone else who signed up.
Fair enough. So even during that period, you could, if needed, apply some changes. If I don't know, Bitcoin goes to $5,000.
Yeah, I'm going to pretend you didn't say that.
Yeah. I need to rephrase that. In the edit, I will cut it out just to make sure.
No, it's fine.
I think
we're ready. We're ready for anything.
Yeah, I think that should be the main focus from a investor point of view, right? The reason I'm asking these questions is about the risk, right? Have you thought about it? But it seems like you have really thought it out well. So kudos for that. Overall, when things would move forward, because one of the things I remember is that your timeline is moving very efficiently, right? So the game is near launch, right? The follow-up steps are implemented quite quickly. What would you say, maybe a risky question to answer, but what would you say would be the maximum time to postpone the mint for? There must be a threshold moment where you say, okay, we cannot, because otherwise it would screw up the rest of the timeline.
I mean, I think given the volatility of the space right now, I would be hesitant to commit to anything, because you have to be prepared to like ride the wave in this space, and we're ready for anything. I mean, if this thing completely nosedived again, and you know, we'd have to rethink things, but we've already discussed those kind of. We have plan B, C, D, and E ready if needed, and if you know, it's not crazy or that drastic if things went completely south, to lead with the game and then come with the NFT. I mean, these are like worst case scenarios.
Right.
But
okay, so you could still launch the game without doing the NFT drops, so to say.
We've always planned, and I think we said this before, is that like we sort of have a phased launch approach where initially we're rewarding the early adopters and they're going to get in early and help us balance. But then we always plan to open up the game to more people, like in the long term. Yeah. That's our long-term vision. We want, it's the only way to get more people into the space. And it's one of the things GameFi people say does, is bring average 100%. People as a sort of funnel, right, into Web3 in a hopefully more friendly UI way, because that's what we're supposed to be good at. And so we can be flexible if we have to, but as of now, we feel we can stick to our current plan. And I think the main thing to know for your listeners too, for us, is like, we're in this for the long term. Like, this is not about the short term where we are right now. Like, we're a long-term project. Just like, I was reading about Axie this weekend, how they always have this long-term vision. And sometimes it's why they prioritize things that you would think, other things that might be pressing. And so we really have the same view, in that our ecosystem, being able to make multiple games, it's why we raised funding at the beginning. Like you were saying, like, we're not reliant on this, right? So this is just going to let us increase our ecosystem, the speed, more games, more characters. That's what this is about.
So when the momentum slows down on the market, in relative terms, right? So it would be like a triangle. And I always like to make things difficult. So it's like the crypto momentum, your game momentum, relative to the other games, because you said the longer you wait, the more crypto games are going to be pushed into the market. Would that still count if, like, the crypto market is in a downward trend? Are you, well, maybe a better question, detailed, are you afraid that people are still able, competitors, to build quickly as you can while you already have the funding?
I mean, we read the headlines every week that there's more and more companies being funded, coming into this space. So these companies, just like us, aren't gonna, I'm sure some might panic and flip business models or whatever, but like the ones like us who are committed to it long term, we're just gonna keep building. Like people say in crypto, right? Builders keep building, and we are lucky that we took that strategy, as opposed to like launching a token and being completely reliant on that. And so it gives us that kind of flexibility. So I think for maybe other projects that are going different routes, it's going to affect them. People who are relying, I can just launch NFTs and or tokens. Now they might have to rethink that, but there's still so many funded companies coming into the space, which again, we welcome, but at the same time, we want to get out there.
We don't welcome them too much.
Yeah, we do welcome having, it'll be good to sort of, one game can't learn everything, and this space has too many rocks to turn over. So that's why we're kind of all in this together.
If you would say for the last 2 weeks, when everything changed quite rapidly, the Luna ecosystem imploded, everything else followed, while we were already like in a downward trend, what would be your main learning coming from a more Web 2 focused background now into Web 3? Is there like any big lesson, if somebody would ask, like, what did you change your mind about anything?
I think the same things you always know sort of about life at this point, that nothing's for certain. You even up till the last minute, we're literally a day away from our Polkastarter Sale. We were tracking it for days, and the market was already skidding before that. But I just think, like, you have to have a plan B and C, and be ready to be flexible in this space. And what we found is our community is understanding, and it would have been sort of rude, I guess, in our set, for lack of a better word, or lacking a little bit of compassion, to like be coming out with it on the day the markets were spiraling. Right. So yeah, go ahead, Kendria.
And I was just going to jump in with that. I think for us, our core has always been efficiency, delivering a very high-end product. Those things haven't changed. The people in the market, we've all collectively have taken a hit, right? I'm pretty certain that no one's portfolio has been untouched by what has happened over the market in its entirety. But to Mike's point, I think it would have been somewhat insensitive to just kind of like barrel through and be like, okay, we're not going to give you a time to take a breath and to get your bearings, to take a look at your portfolio, and show some compassion in the market. For us, the product is going to demonstrate itself. firmly stand behind what we're about to launch on this community. But in doing that, you want to also take that in balance with, you've got this amazing product, but you're still dealing with people, right? So you
Right.
always want to have them walk hand in hand. And so I think that, one, to Mike's point, our community was very responsive to that, right? Because, at this point, we're not a cash grab. I think we've all seen that by what we're about to offer the community, our commitment to the community, even our tokenomics, and the eventual launching of our tokenomics will also portray that. We want to step forward with the content first. So, we want to ride the wave and try and time as much as we can, but who can do that? But we know what we have is legit, right? And I think that we've demonstrated that in everything that we do, that we can, be thoughtful, we can be strategic in what we're doing, and we can come forth where we don't look like we're harried or rushed, because we're executing on plan. And I think that's the difference between most projects, is that the way that we've crafted it from the beginning, we've stayed on our plan, we've stayed true to our own mission, to what we're going to deliver. And I think that in whatever market is going to end up bearing itself out.
And you just want to always be patient. And there's like,
Sure.
at first it was like, oh God, we have to delay this, but as I said before, like, we're growing at such a steady pace. We're still having people come to us like, how did I not hear about this? It's the first time I've heard about it. And so it lets, just our message and the content spread more to people who want to see it. And our cinematic trailer is getting closer to being done. So we're going to get to release
That's exciting.
teasers of that soon. Yeah. And we think it's next level for this space, which there's been some good ones done in. So we're excited to show it off and just keep, dropping more, like I said, about details about the gameplay and more details to people, and soon showing it off.
How does, now I'm looking at your roadmap, and that was a really good answer on the audience, actually. On the roadmap itself, how would like the eternal economy of the Planet Mojo ecosystem be affected if there's, let's say, less or more players than you would have initially calculated upon the launch? Would you then, I remember the 100% TGE, right? So when you mentioned Republic, I was like, oh, they did the tokenomics. I remember that, which is like, that's the main point that I know we have a different opinion on. But basically with like 100% TGE, I would assume mass utility of the token on the game to basically take that liquidity out of the market and into your ecosystem. Let's say you have a lot more users than you expected. Would that like congest anything on your like internal marketplace or anything like this?
I mean, we have sort of anticipated slow, steady growth anyways. So we want, we don't necessarily want a gazillion users from day one. And that's why we wanted to have the strategy of just letting the initial adopters and Mojo holders in. Usually when you launch a game in this early state, you want people playing it and balancing it, and then open it up much more. So that's really our approach. It's silly to come out of the gates and try to put millions of users into a game like this, which it'll break it, really fast. But yeah, I mean, and after the call, I remember now that you're mentioning it, I was like, oh, so we did look at a bunch of other projects. I mean, what we're doing, I will say confidently, is at least typical for the public sale, for the having 100% TG on TGE. It's just, it's a very small percentage, but that's pretty much the norm, what we see in terms of other gaming projects that have launched tokens. Star Atlas, down the line.
Yeah,
we can have a mini debate on this later, and you can show me
it's one of my favorite debates,
show me the ones that didn't.
There's basically so much to say about that 100% TGE, but the person who designed the tokenomics will have a very good reason why they want to deploy 100% TGE. It's either
Alex from Republic, he said he would, if you want to do a separate call, we could do another AMA we'll come on.
Yeah, just tokenomics.
He'd love to get into it. He's like, yeah, he would love to talk about it with you.
Then I can show if I'm actually a good advisor on tokenomics or not. But the whole
Yeah.
whole debate is like they have a good reputation on tokenomics, right? So there must be a thing, but like we look at things like normal investors, we go a little bit deeper, like does the market maker need the room to make the trades, right? Is it to support liquidity? Like if there's like an initial reason, and of course for investors in the public round, I would never say who the market maker is or to get those parties involved because it doesn't concern them, right? They just want to hold the token for something, but that it does show good interest because usually we invest in strategic, right? With the KOL, we get strategic round. And then obviously these questions for the later rounds, we want to participate in every round after we do the entry. So then these questions come up. And one of these things is like the balanced economy. When you say relatively slow and steady growth, could you give us like a number to what that would mean? Is it like less than, well, I don't know anything about actual games. Is it maybe 1,000 active daily users, something like this?
I was just going to say one thing about the last point, and then I will too, is that that's also why we give incentives like staking and other mechanisms to have people want to hold them and keep them for the long term, right? So anyways, yeah, I mean, I think, ask me once more, sorry.
It's about the users.
You can edit that out. Oh yeah, the growth. Okay, take two. Yes. Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to really do numbers in this space. If you look at actual games and, you know, in traditional games, DAUs, MAUs, that's how they're measured, daily active users, you know, Axie is like by far the biggest in this space. And what do they have? I think they shrunk now down to like 1 million DAU.
Yes, it's about 1 million DAU.
Right, and that's like a pretty good mobile game. I don't think it's like, so it's really, but you know, at the same time, we hope this space is going to grow, whatever. But yeah, for us, I think in like by the, like, let's say in a year of, you know, after launching the game, you know, getting anywhere to close to like 500,000 DAU would be phenomenal. Even a few 100,000, that, you know, that you multiply that for MAU, and that's a much bigger number. Those are people playing every single day. You know, having like an overall player pool of, you know, 1 million+ players, you know, would be fantastic. But that's going to take time and growth. And, but you know, if we can keep we sort of set our sights realistically, and we want to conquer first the people who are looking at this space and interested and looking for new products. That's always been our first goal, and then expand out sort of as the Web 2 world learns about this more and learns the value of owning their assets for games and all the other, the evolution of community and all the other perks essentially to Web 3 gaming. We feel strongly the space is just going to grow.
With the
more players.
Yeah, like just becomes bigger and bigger, more adoption through the initial adoption. No, that makes sense. With the auto chess, right, as being the first game, would you design, because the ecosystem will launch multiple game types, right? Game variations. Would you build assets around that as well, like marketplace or any other monetization assets for your ecosystem?
Oh yeah, we're going to have our own marketplace, and we'll probably be announcing soon a partnership with I guess sort of a lending protocol that we'll be using to work with guilds and normal players to lend out their assets as well. I'm not, you know, promising that's going to be in at launch, but soon after. But yeah, we've always had a plan to have our own marketplace, let people make transactions on there, see the value, just like we see other games do. I mean, it's really, you know, you'll be able to also just be blockchain. You could see it on OpenSea as well, but I think that's really important for community, you know, to have in the game as well.
Yeah, and I mean, from the easier and more accessible it is in general, the more efficient the ecosystem would be. You know, the ecosystem of games is great, but the support assets there as well, it's even better.
Yeah, people like buying and selling battle stones and trading them and teams. And I mean, this is something the guilds, you asked about the guilds, like number one thing the guilds ask for is, you know, make it easier than Axie, essentially, build it into the game, you know, and so that's like our long-term goal. We want to make it really as easy and slick as possible. This is a little tease from our cinematic of the birth of a Mojo. I hope it's probably playing choppy for you, but
Yeah, well, you can see it. I like the colors. It's like a little artichoke dude.
yes, he is. And this is another still from the cinematic, and you can see something weird going on in the background.
And is that like a hamster bunny?
No, he's like an alien squirrel. Oops, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, squirrel. Yeah.
The
Sorry.
final version is going to be, looks amazing, and I won't say any more about what happens, but something does.
Mysterious. I like it. Well, there's much more to come, right? Still early days. That's why I
Oh, yeah.
appreciate you guys being here for the second time. Just like to stay in the loop on how things develop, because most projects, they have quite a long roadmap, you know, and getting an update once every 6 months is not that interesting. We can keep up with that ourselves, right? But if the momentum is there, to see you guys, to see what you're doing, you're very passionate about it, and even the right decisions, right? As soon as we noticed that's happening, I was like, oh, are these guys going to cancel for the AMA, or are we still going to do it and talk about it, you know? And that says a lot, you know, from an investor point of view, that it means, no, it's not only good times and not only, you know, promo hype, we're the best, it's still great, but just need to work with what we have, and then we'll fix it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, we continue to be committed to transparency and authenticity. So, you know, in the good in the good times and the challenging times, you know, we still have to be able to come forth to our community and say, hey, as a family, right, as corny as that sounds, this is what's going on. These are decisions that we are making. This is a path that we think is going to be the most expedient and efficient for what we're trying to achieve. And I think if you keep that open dialogue with your community, they'll ride with you. It's when you shut down, or when you said all is well, and you know, you see that fire, there's a meme where there's fire going on all around.
Everything is fine.
Like, I'm fine. You know, that's when
I tweeted that last week.
Oh, did you? I think that's when people begin to, like, there's a little alarm that goes off. Instead of saying, hey, it's tough out here right now, we want to do what's best for everyone. And so, no, we appreciate you not canceling. We appreciate this format to be able to come and amplify, like, hey, we see what's going on. We're still committed. We're still moving, you know, and we always say, you know, I think, because I've been in the space since 2017 too. And I think one of the badges of honor is like when you become a bear builder, because that's when really the cream rises to the top, that in spite of adversity, we're still here. We're still, you know, planning on roadmap, and we're still delivering. I think that becomes like your badge, you know, your badge of honor. Like, yeah, this project, you know, they stayed here in the thick of it, and they still are producing an amazing product. So, you know, thank you for that.
That's awesome. The progress is definitely one of the most important things. It's difficult. I can say, because my audience is watching, I think we've only been building for the last 5 months, and I did 10 updates where I was like, man, guys, we messed up. I thought we should be doing this, but we actually did do this, and we have to change things. But yeah, we delivered 5 amazing products in 5 months. So the pace, of course, you want to be quick, and when you're quick, you make some mistakes. Right, as long as you fix them. We have one question, which somebody's asking about an ERC20 token on Ethereum.
I saw that.
Thought it was Polygon.
Yeah, I mean, as I understand it, yeah, we're building the game on Polygon, but our token will be ERC20 token. So, but Polygon's built on Ethereum, so will be interactable.
Yeah, you could just use the bridge for the token. Yeah.
Yeah, and when our token launches, also, it's sort of like, it's more of a reward that we're giving to people. Sort of, it's not like used per se in the game as much. It will be used as burning for a couple things, but it's not like intertwined with the game.
So you don't have like the continuous gas and stuff for the token.
Correct.
Because I think that's the main intention behind the question is when people say Ethereum, it's gas.
Yeah. No. For in-game trading, that will be done. I mean, again, at least with Matic, Wrap Teeth, and possibly others, but low gas solutions for sure.
Okay, awesome. I hope that answer is clear. Well, it is very clear for me at least.
Yeah, I mean, just
All
like
right.
with the Axie marketplace, they don't, you're not trading with their token in there. It's very similar.
Yeah, makes sense. I mean, specifically with any reason you would choose for, well, for the ERC20, because we chose for our projects to be ERC20 because of the foundation that you can build on, right? All the options right now and in the future. Is that the same thought pattern?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. You guys want to weigh in on this, or, I mean,
I mean, mainnet will always be the foundation, right? I mean, and so all the innovation that's currently happening is happening there, and the smart other blockchains are going to take advantage of that and allow there to be, via, like you said, bridges. So since the innovation is there, we're committed to that. And as long as there's portability, at the end of the day, our commitment is to low gas fees, making it accessible to the average player. And so Polygon is a great fit for us. But as of right now, all of the main innovation is happening on mainnet.
Yeah.
So,
and as long as
and
you have the option for the bridge, then it's all good.
Exactly.
And we believe in ETH 2.0, also, which we probably is
we can see in 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. But that's hopefully all going to be compatible, and yeah, we're hopeful it's sooner than later.
And let's remember too, Polygon has never built themselves out to be an ETH killer. It's always kind of like,
yeah.
I mean, so this is the best of both worlds, to, as you said, as long as there's always a bridging opportunity. So
yeah, I think that's like a investor point of view, not focused on utility, but just on money, right? Where they don't see that these systems should complement one another, right? Instead of trying to compete, because competing with Ethereum is the same thing as competing with Bitcoin. Yes, you might be a lot more efficient, but they have something that the first mover advantage or some adaption or some foundation that you don't have. But overall, I think the one thing I heard from Polygon, and specifically Polygon Studios, is their support for the projects that launch. Today, they offered all the Luna projects a migration, of course, under a custom deal, but they don't have to do that because, yes, it's good for their brand, but it's also, I assume, quite some nightmares on the liquidity side that has to be figured out. Because I did, well, you spoke with Herman and Kiri before. I did a review to them with them today on Terra, and everything is down 80 to 99%. And to swap these projects, what are you really swapping? The tech, probably, but there's, in terms of assets, barely anything to harvest. But definitely interested to see how they support these projects, because it is quite sad overall. Nobody wanted that. And these projects do deserve a place, because if the tools are good, right, but maybe a different conversation.
Hopefully they can be reborn.
Yes, and I mean, and it's not to be left that the Terra ecosystem and the builders on there, these people are fanatic and with their loyalty and with their innovation and with their talent. So it is really great to see Polygon extend a hand, saying, like, that's the one thing that we need, right, is talent and innovation. And so not to let Terra, to die, or let these incredibly passionate and talented people just kind of like left off out in the nether. So that's great. And for me, although it will be a naive statement, this is what you want to see in blockchain, right? We get an opportunity to build a new place where, all are welcome, and the innovation and the talent is always going to be able to go somewhere. So I applaud them for that. That was really heartening this morning, because last week was horrible.
Yeah, and everybody, like you mentioned before, everybody is affected by it. I have another question from Michael. I think it's quite interesting about the expansion of the ecosystem based on the first games, right? I don't think he understands the part of the ecosystem. So let me just summarize it, if I understood it correctly.
Ralph is dying to answer this.
Yeah, all right, Ralph, here we go. The ecosystem, then there are multiple games. We start off with Battle Chess.
Yeah.
How does it expand from there? in terms of gameplay and the
I think
releases of the sub games?
Well, we can answer some of that right now, but a lot of our plans are not set for the future. But in the short term, we're going to be releasing the land and the auto chest about the same time. Are you thinking about what the plans are for further games and how those will
Yeah,
be
further
working
games,
with
or
our
maybe
NFTs?
how to go from Planet Mojo into other games, right? So first
Right.
you build out your own ecosystem with different games. And while you have all the users entertained, perhaps say like, hey, we partner with other side and just push them into that metaverse.
Yeah, we have talked to some potential partners in that area, and nothing is set, but we feel like, I mean, that's why a lot of people are in this space, because they've been enticed by this idea of being able to take their characters that they own and bring them all over the place, right? So we want to be a part of that. We're obviously focused on our own stuff right now, but we're in talks, and if nothing else, these next few months might provide us more opportunity for those kinds of relationships to grow as we, together as a gaming community, just sort of, stiffen up and build something together. So
the tech has to evolve a little to make it easier. But, just to be clear, like our plan is to have our own set of games too, and you'll be able to bring like your teams and NFTs into them and have full functionality. But, we, like Ralph said, we're talking to other projects, and it just depends on the game. Or what the experience, it's like,
Right.
it's easier to put a character maybe into a race game than a full whatever
first person shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. So
yeah.
So basically, from the vision is to go from external to Planet Mojo, but also the other way around, depending on the specific partners, test it, see how easy it is to implement or more difficult it is to implement, and then take it from there. So definitely on the calendar.
yeah, for sure. I mean, it's sort of, in a way, it's very like traditional games, like when we did our VR game last year, and then all the different VR ports. We bring it to this, we bring it to that. It's like, well, okay, let's see how difficult it is. And this space, there's just so much momentum though, and companies that want to help you do that with funding. So we're definitely open to collaborations and are exploring them.
What about, Michael has a follow-up question on a potential SDK? Is that something you would consider?
Yeah, no, it's definitely something we've talked about, and it's just, it would be down the road after we've got a few our own ecosystem of games, and we would definitely be open to bringing that to the public.
Because I have some fake understanding what that means, but let me just phrase it so I'm sure that I'm talking about the right thing.
Good.
It allows other people to build on your game. Yes.
Yeah, it gives them the ability to build out their own Mojo games and things like that. Like Axie just sort of implemented the first wave of this, where it's still sort of it can be a controlled thing, at least initially, because you can approve sort of proposals, and theoretically even have the community be voting on them as well. But ultimately, giving them a code, a fully fleshed SDK, that's where eventually you want to get, but that can happen in stages, to let other people make Mojo games, which would be really cool.
Very cool. Yeah, that would be cool. That's one thing even from a business point of view, as a business owner myself, I'm like, okay, you just bring it to the level that you have created longevity, and then others can, that must really mean they love your stuff, right? If they make that move.
And we've seen that in our art contest with our community, just the insane dedication and creativity. And another thing we also talked about is just releasing stuff so people can make their own AR lenses. And we just released one for people to play with, but have the content to make snap lenses and Instagram and play around with it that way.
Make myself a little turnip.
Yeah, that's the one we released. I'll send you a link. You can post it.
I will tweet it. If you send it to me, I will actually tweet it and tag you in it.
Awesome. Consider
That'd
it
be
done.
funny.
You're gonna love it.
That would be funny. All right, perfect. Ark has a question about any worst case scenario plan. If I can answer it, basically, I would like to answer it. That's basically something that I think nobody would consider to be fair. If I would build, so we are building on Ethereum. If Ethereum would explode, I will consider it when that happens, right? That's like a doomsday scenario. I don't think anybody, in terms of the foundation of Luna, I don't think too many projects build on Luna because of the risk, right? 20% APR, obviously there's some risk in Anchor protocol and then it relays back. So the risk people could be aware of, but on other blockchains, the tokenomics don't work out. So I don't think this immediate risk of an implosion, so to say. Polygon, AVAX, all the IOTAX, they have very different tokenomics, which is not, I don't want to say Ponzi-nomics because that's basically maybe the wrong word here to use, but it's not a, they can self-sustain, right? There's no need, all they need is usage of the network. And if there's less usage, there's just less money for them, less growth, but there's no implosion effect. Do you agree?
Yeah, and these companies, the ones you mentioned and others, like they're also very well backed right now. You know, they've sort of like, a lot of them have sort of taken on new rounds, and you know, so I don't see any of these players like going away. Like you said, it could slow growth, but you know, Polygon is not gonna disappear, Avalanche, others, and
have you thought about it? What would happen if Polygon loses 99% of its value overnight? Would it change anything for you?
you know, we'd have to really consider.
Or haven't thought about it.
Make it 100%, then it's an easier decision. You know,
Yeah.
then we would just move, right? It's like,
Yeah.
that's why we raised money in the beginning. And like, it's actually not, you know, from the, I've talking to several blockchain engineers, it's not, and that's why we do want to be cross-chain ultimately. It's not really that hard to depending on where you're moving from, to be cross-chain and have this. A lot of our back end also is like Web2 based, so that would be unaffected for the game side, and it would really just be our smart contracts.
Yeah, makes sense. That's a good question, though. I think it's interesting.
It is
But
a good
I don't
question.
think that many of these setups would consider a doomsday scenario as part of their business plan. Maybe for bad times. Okay, coming from an investor perspective, people want to invest in the ecosystem rather than a single game, multi-purpose token, multi-purpose NFT. Okay. Oh, it's not a question. It's just a statement from Michael, a closing statement. Well, we agree. Multi-purpose, multi-utility is always better, but it can go too crazy. You know, it shouldn't be included in everything.
Yeah, no, and that's sort of in our baseline plan too, is that as we release a new game, it can pump more interest. You know, I'm not saying value per se, but like that is the hope, right? That it,
right,
more people, you know, every time we release a game and these characters are being used again, and the NFTs, it's like kind of doubles their utility, I guess is the best way to say it.
Fair enough. All right, perfect. I don't have any more questions on the lineup. I think we have answered all the difficult questions. Is there anything else you would like to add perhaps today?
There's still time to sign up for NFT sale with us or Polkastarter, so check it out. Coming soon for sure.
I'll be the first one to cover it again for you when that happens, because I did really like it, because I stumbled upon it browsing Polkastarter, and then I was like, this definitely looks interesting. So I'll keep an eye out. Cool. Well, I'm sure we'll see it on your socials when that's announced.
Yeah, we'll let you know very soon. Hopefully, maybe even today, we'll be announcing new dates. So we'll let you know.
All right,
and
perfect.
I'll get you that snap link, because I'm going to hold you to you tweeting or at least posting.
Yeah, I will.
The picture of it.
I will. Yes. I think it will be very funny.
And just thank you for having us today. You have a great community.
Yeah,
We've seen some
again.
of your people come in, and they've actually said that they came here because of your show or through your show. So we just want to thank you for bringing forth really great content.
You're very welcome. Thank you guys for being here, Ralph, Kendria, Michael. It was a pleasure. I hope to see you again in the future. Thank you for taking the time today, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank
Thank
you
you, Colin.
too. Take
Thanks for
care, sir.
having us.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye,
Later.
everybody.